Today on The Bridge, we're celebrating the Boys and Girls Club of Benton and Franklin counties. Our co-host, Chad Mitchell, shares why he's committed to serving local youth, and director Brian Ace opens up about the needs, the impact, and the hope happening inside their doors every day. Plus, how we can help support them through this year's Giving Machines. Join us. Welcome to The Bridge. We are excited to celebrate the Boys and Girls Club of Benton and Franklin counties this morning. Today, we get to have this conversation with Chad Mitchell and with Brian Ace. Let me introduce both of them right now. Chad Mitchell is a trial lawyer focusing on environmental law and also a high school lacrosse coach, author of Change Your Game, Helping Empower Young People as Leaders Now. Active in his church community, Chad is the father of 6, the father-in-law to almost 5, grandfather to 5 granddaughters, and also president of the Boys and Girls Club of Benton and Franklin Counties Board, and he's also my friend. Also, we get to have a conversation with Brian Ace. Brian Ace is the director of the Boys and Girls Club of Benton and Franklin Counties. He is passionate about education and youth development. Brian has degrees in psychology and theology and a master's of education in school counseling. He began his career in Boys and Girls Clubs and has been leading our local organization since 2012. He lives in Kennewick with his wife Beth and their 6 children ages 4 to 19. So thanks for being here with us, you guys.
Thank you for having us. This is going to be a fun morning.
Yeah, we're excited.
Oh,
excited to be here with you, Krista.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting us.
Well, Chad, let's start with you. So can you tell us a little bit about how you first got connected with the Boys and Girls Club of Franklin and Benton counties?
Absolutely. So I was finishing up a calling in our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as bishop. That takes a little bit of time, and so Bonnie and I, my wife, talked about, what are we going to do once this is over, because I'm going to have a little more time on my plate, and I didn't want to just sit on the couch and watch TV, so we started doing some questioning, asking our neighbors what are good orgs, really wanted to focus on youth, and wanted to focus on youth who, probably normally wouldn't cross our path just with, our neighborhood at that time, and also the schools that our kids go to. And there's actually a video about this that the Boys and Girls Club put together that is fun to watch, and you can see it on my website, jchadmitchell.com. But we asked around, and one of our neighbors suggested that we meet with Brian Ace and explore the Boys and Girls Club. And so we met with Brian, we got in the van, and Will and Quinn, I think, and Bonnie and I, and Brian, is that right?
Yeah, we drove around, which is very abnormal, what Chad and Bonnie did. Most people call and want to go to coffee. They wanted to grab their kids, load them up in a car, and actually see the Boys and Girls Club, which I thought was super neat.
And it was great.
Awesome.
Because it was awesome. And in fact, our youngest kid, Will, at the Arts and Music Center,
yeah.
He heard and saw what the kids were doing, and he was like, hey, I want to sign up for this. I want to be involved. And so it was not a very hard sell at all to get more involved with the Boys and Girls Club. And it's been one of the, funnest, best, most impactful decisions that I've made in a while. I get to know Brian, get to work with him and his great staff, and it's just been a great blessing in our life.
And I loved the intentionality in how Chad and Bonnie explored that, because sometimes, long story short, Chad joins our board, which is phenomenal. And many times it'll be a while till I get a chance to meet a spouse of a board member. And this was day one. It was a Chad and Bonnie family exploration of service. And that has been great because it's allowed me not only get to know Chad over the years, but also Bonnie and some kids as well, which is kind of neat to have a family dedicated to something, not just an individual. So.
Oh, I love that. Do your kids ever come with you?
It depends on what the event is. Now
These kids have gotten older
That's true.
over the years.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, now we only have one kid at home, and it's hard to get him to want to come with his parents to just about anything.
But it is multi-generational. I just heard on the way here that you're bringing your mother to an event this week.
That's right.
And so
Festival of Trees
it's
tomorrow
definitely
night.
Multiple generations that are connecting with clubs.
Awesome. So with Festival of Trees, that's what you just said. That's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a tree you're sponsoring? Is that what it is?
No, my wife usually tries to bring home a tree, so that's the goal, and so we'll see how moved she is by what she sees and whether we bring a tree back to her house.
We would love an update on that.
Yeah,
that would be great.
She usually gets what she wants, so I'm sure there'll be a tree in May's house. So.
Good man. Well, awesome. Well, Ted, can I ask you one more thing? What have you seen firsthand that makes you feel this was the right decision for you to join with Boys and Girls Club? That's an on-the-spot question.
Yeah, no, great question, Krista. I love it. There's a lot of things I enjoy about Boys and Girls Club, and we'll touch on a few of those, but the impact it has on young people, especially those who need us most, just to see their transformation, the impact, having caring adults here, staff at Boys and Girls Club, who can be a safe space for them, help them see their potential, help them see a potential they don't see themselves, and then give them the tools and opportunities to go out and blossom and bloom. And that is our mission, and to see that happen on, and I don't exaggerate here, a daily basis. I don't see it on a daily basis, but I know it happens on a daily basis is phenomenal.
That's awesome. And actually, with you saying you might not see it on a daily basis, Brian, you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I see it, or I see
yeah.
staff who are engaging in that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, this is a great time to ask you what on the ground is happening at the Boys and Girls Club. What would you like to share?
Yeah, some great things happening in our community. Mm-hmm. So we have clubs all the way from our main Tri-Cities area all the way up into Prosser, and the kids that we serve up there. It's interesting because when most people think of Boys and Girls Club, they usually have a picture in their head of younger kids. And that is true. We serve a lot of younger kids on a daily basis. We have multiple early learning sites serving kids all the way from 4 weeks up to 5 years old. We have a lot of elementary sites, both traditional clubs that are neighborhood based.
I just drove by one yesterday.
Oh, Kennewick or Pasco?
It would have been North Richland.
North Richland. Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, it was great.
So you see those community clubhouses that are neighborhood based, as well as, we have some childcare programs that we do as well. But I think the thing people don't think about is teens, those middle school and high school youth. And I think that's the magic on a daily basis, is that you're seeing kids from 4 weeks up to 18 that have the same desire, and that's for a caring adult to invest in their lives, help them develop and grow. And so it's a neat piece. I wish I was in clubs more. I started in clubs back in Seattle in the late 90s, and then moved down here. In my role, I don't get to be in a Boys and Girls Club every day, but I do get to interact with the staff every day who are making a difference in the lives of those kids.
That is awesome. Go ahead.
So one other aspect that is a surprise to me, I don't know why I didn't expect it, but it's been phenomenal, as well as, yes, the impact on the youth is our number one priority. But something I've seen is we have these fundraising events, and we just had one a couple weeks ago. We had it at the local convention center. And how many people were there, Brian?
600.
600 people were there.
That's a big group in Tri-Cities.
It's a big group in Tri-Cities. And the greatest thing about it is they are generous, they are giving, and they are there to support our youth. And to be in the same room with all those people and just feel, man, it brings intense emotions to me just to hear it talk about it. But to be in that room and know that these people in our community are there for the same reason, to support our kids. So generous and so inspiring to me. I love it.
And I think that's one of the things we see with Boys and Girls Club and so many other nonprofits in our area, right? Is the nonprofit community exists to fulfill a mission, right? Every nonprofit is unique in that what that mission is, but it cannot happen without the broader community supporting that in a variety of ways.
Amen.
Whether that's time, talent, treasure, advocacy, but in some way, a nonprofit will not function if the community broadly doesn't rally behind it to support it, to see what's happening in that mission and say, I, as a community member, care enough about this mission that I'm going to equip an organization to make that happen.
And I would assume for that to happen, your mission needs to be very clear so that the community can latch onto it.
And maybe not the whole community, but a subset, right?
That means something to someone.
That means something to someone. It's got to be a personal fulfillment. Chad talked about it when he was looking at where they wanted to serve after his bishop assignment wrapped up. And for him, he said, we want to serve youth because that's a missional heart of he, his wife, his family.
Sure.
That's going to be different for different people. For some, it's going to be pets. It's going to be homeless. It's going to be food insecurity. All those are powerful missions. Hospice, end of life, bereavement services. All those are powerful. The big, exciting challenge is matching a donor, a volunteer up that has that as their mission with an organization that has that as their mission, because then there's synergy in how that plays out.
Oh, I love the structure of that in my mind, picturing that. So if I were to come to you and say, well, what's the Boys and Girls Club mission?
Yeah.
If you were to see if it's a good fit for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
and
would
I
you
think,
say?
For us, that mission communicated is the same as our mission written. We have a lot of continuity in that, which I think is healthy. It's to empower all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, responsible, caring citizens. I think the important part of that to me, and what really grabbed hold of me in my early 20s when I started working for clubs, is really that those who need us most. That's a critical piece of our mission. It's a sentence between two commas that is so important because it looks different in different spaces for different kids and different people. But at the end of the day, that's what our staff and our community who empowers and equips them do, is they serve all young people, yes, but especially those who need us most.
And this seems a good time to ask, who is the community that you find yourself serving most? Who needs you most?
And I think it varies, right?
Sure.
Because we serve all young people, 4 weeks old all the way up through 18. But when we talk about especially those who need us most, a few, characteristics maybe come forth with that. So I think one very much is low-income youth. So when we talk about the opportunities that my children have based on being a middle-class family, those opportunities are not equivalent to what low-income youth have. I'm going to spend my day driving to bowling with a kid. I'm going to have steel drums tonight. There's going to be a basketball game for a kid. We're going to live on the road for 4 hours bouncing around to give our kids opportunities.
I think a lot of us can understand that feeling.
Yeah, you probably do the same thing, Chad did. For a lot of low-income families, there's not the capacity in which to provide those type of experiences, either because of time or transportation or dollars.
Or can I also add,
please.
even mental capacity to handle it.
Yes.
Like sometimes when I've been in a space in my life where I'm drowning, everything feels sensory overload. And you're not doing anything wrong. It's just where you are.
Yeah.
So I would add that as well. So
and I think capacity is a critical part of that, right?
Yeah.
So,
and they're not doing anything wrong.
No,
yeah,
they're doing the best they can with the reality of their situation. And so I think low-income youth boil up as one example of those who need us most, which is why many of our clubs, most of our clubs, are targeted in neighborhoods to be accessible to low-income families.
I love that.
I think the second one that jumps out at me as those who need us most is teens, middle school and high school youth. We are in the midst of a crisis. I'm going to focus this on our country. It probably is a global crisis as well, but a crisis for teens. When we look at statistics as it relates to suicidal attempts, anxiety and depression, body image, hope for the future, productivity, functional adulthood, all those challenges that our teens are facing, those are those young people who need us most. And I think Club does a good job of focusing mission on that population as well. So I think those are two that jump out at me. Now there's so many others. There's, children of working families that just need a safe place to go after school. There's a lot of foster youth that we serve, children experiencing homelessness. But I think when we look at it, low-income teens are two that for me are meaningful. Is there other ones that are meaningful to you?
Yeah, I was totally going to ask you, would you answer the same?
Well, I think I could sit here and listen to Brian talk about Boys and Girls Club all day, but he is being humble, which is always a good thing, because our teen programs are fabulous, and they've been recognized. The work we do here locally with teens, they've been recognized nationally by our national organization. In fact, our Keystone Club, which is a leadership club for the teens, we were awarded the Keystone Club of the Year for our Pasco Clubhouse teens. And they are awesome. They are out leading. They have ideas. They're serving their community. They're executing on those ideas. And so there are, as Brian outlined, and we can think of more, huge challenges for our youth these days. but I also have a lot of hope
Yep.
in the youth that I see. And when they're given an opportunity to lead or feel empowered, man, that is a huge opportunity for them to grow and to feel good and to connect with other people. And I see the Boys and Girls Club here locally doing a fabulous job with that. So that would be the only thing I would add to what you said, Brian. I appreciate you being humble, but if we're trying to shine a light on the great work that local nonprofits are doing, the teen leadership program here is phenomenal.
Yeah, amazing staff, supported by volunteers that are working directly with teens. And it is a hard population. All three of us around this microphone, and most of those listening have or had teenagers. It is a tough time of life. It's a challenging season.
Amen.
Do you want to piggyback on what he was saying about the teens? Is there a specific teen project that has happened recently or one that you would like to share to give an example, a real life example?
Yeah, so I think a great example of that is one that happened real recently.
I'm so interested to hear which one you're choosing.
Well, I'm going to choose one, and so
I know,
but it's interesting.
We have time to tell two, so don't worry.
We have board meetings each month, right, where we're bringing our board together to have governance responsibilities, policy, fiduciary responsibilities, fiscal responsibilities, and we can, Chad and I, as board president and director, can build this great agenda. And the end of the day, the best meetings are ones where we just don't talk much, and we bring teens in to talk. It usually happens a couple times a year. One of the most recent ones is our teens came and presented a project that they started and have been working on that we're really excited about, and it's called Club on Wheels.
That's the right answer.
I am excited.
So what
that's awesome.
The high schoolers started doing is they said, hey, we get to come to a Boys and Girls Club every day that's down the street from our house. We can walk there after school, right? It's in our neighborhood. But what about all those kids that don't have a club in their neighborhood? And so they decided to take the Boys and Girls Club out to targeted neighborhoods. And they've done multiple. We did, a couple events in Sunnyside. We've done them in some apartment complexes in Kennewick. But the one that they really settled on where they have the most connection is with a mobile home park, a trailer park in far east Pasco called Lakeview. It's actually the old Jolly Green Giant staff housing when we used to have a production facility in town. So just out in the middle of nowhere. And they load up the van with supplies, and the teens load up, and sometimes they'll even engage with community partners, businesses or service clubs that join them for this, go set up shop, and they run Boys and Girls Club activities for the kids in that neighborhood. The teens have been doing this for probably a year and a half. It's been awesome to see, but the cool part is they brought it to the board and said, hey, we've been able to do X, but if you get behind us, we can do Y. They challenged the board, I think challenge is the right word, to expand on this and allow them to do more, serve more, connect more with kids. And I think from a board perspective, you speak as a board member, Chad, but I think it's received better coming from a teenager than it necessarily would be coming from staff.
Yeah, and even the impact of the message is less important to me than the fact that those young adults are advocating. They're standing up with a room full of very, accomplished board members, and they're just standing and delivering and doing a great job because it's their idea. Mm-hmm. They're executing on it. They can walk the talk because they've done it. Yeah. And that is such an easy message to want to support when you have kids who are excited about serving other kids in their community. Yeah. I don't know that it gets a whole lot better than that.
No, and we probably had in that board meeting maybe 20, 30 minutes of dialogue afterwards with the teens, asking questions, right?
Yeah.
And getting their vision. And as we think through our future plans, we're right in the middle of strategic planning organizationally. In fact, the board next week gets to look at first draft. All over that first draft is Club on Wheels because it's a teen
what a great
initiative.
Name too.
Yeah, it is a good name.
It's a great name.
So, but it's an initiative
catchy,
that the
it
board
tells you what it is.
grabbed hold of. So.
Do you know what I love about that too? Because as you were talking earlier about some of the more specific communities that rise to the top that you do want to help, it has been my personal experience growing up, but then also just interacting in the community when a group of people are limited, whether with money or time or capacity or whatever, there seems to be settled in a scarcity mindset in that community, and I think it's just what happens, and because you're just trying to get food on the table, you're
It's
just
a
trying to get the
survival
day.
instinct.
Absolutely. And so what's hard for me is when you see that scarcity mindset seep into the nervous system of these kids as they grow, and their perspective and their dreams for themselves get small, and that's okay. They're surviving, exactly like you said. So no judgment on that. Having said that, what I'm loving about what you're sharing is you take a step out of that survival and you take a step out of that scarcity mindset and you start to dream. What can we do? And I'm assuming you have your adult leaders and your mentors that stand beside me and like, all right, this is how we can support you. Let's see where this dream can go. And I love to step out of that scarcity mindset and into the let's go see what we can accomplish, because that sets up their whole life for the sky's the limit.
Well, and I think stepping out of that scarcity mindset, service is a great way of doing that.
Oh,
so for these
totally.
teens doing Club on Wheels, they're serving someone else. That changes their perspective. But it's
Oh my
interesting.
gosh, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, totally. Sorry.
But it's interesting from a board perspective too, because sometimes even as community members, as leaders, as volunteers and donors, we can have that scarcity mindset too. And sometimes we have to step out from a service perspective to change that mentality and vision to one of abundance and one of blessing, so that we can see beyond the reality that we are experiencing with, there's finances and there's this and there's that, and it's uncertainty in the economy and the uncertainty in our community and nation. Sure, great. But stepping out of that, there's still an amazing opportunity, and there's resources and desire to still make the world a better place. And that can be a great way to pull even us adults out of that scarcity mindset.
Oh, I love that. Well, this is a good time for me to ask the question. So I'm an adult. I'm listening to this podcast. I'm learning about this through our conversation here. And I'm feeling the drive. I want to go help Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
What does that look like for me? What would you advise me to do?
Yeah, I think the best thing is just to reach out and connect with the clubs. The question is, how do you want to give back, right? Usually we talk about time, talent, treasure.
Okay, hang on just a sec.
Yeah.
Oh.
We got to attribute that to John the Femina.
Sure.
John, shout
I don't know
out.
that name yet.
That's okay. That's okay. He's a fabulous board member on our board, been a long-time supporter of Boys and Girls Club, and he's so committed that even though he's moved to the East Coast, he still is a very contributing and wonderful member of our board. So, sorry to interrupt, Brian.
John, shout out.
Yeah.
So, time, talent, treasure.
There's no boundaries is what you're saying.
No
There's
boundaries,
no boundaries. Go ahead.
And then I think advocacy too, right? So someone can be like, well, I have time to give. So then it's reaching out and saying, I'd love to volunteer. What are some of those opportunities? Either directly serving kids, or it might be as simple as, folding letters and doing mailers, or helping with office tasks, or whatever that is. Time is a possibility. Talent, I think of not Chad, but another attorney that we have on the board. There's other attorneys on the board.
Oh, I don't think it's
No,
Chad.
you also have talent, but others do too.
I'm kidding.
But we have one board member who is doing a review of our employee handbook right now. Right, that's a talent exercise. Treasure, generosity. At the end of the day, nonprofits need donations to fulfill that mission.
Money is necessary.
It is absolutely necessary. And so, that treasure becomes a critical piece. And then I think that advocacy piece, which is a way I think a lot of people can give back. We are in an era of social media, but also word of mouth, right? The importance...
Especially in our Tri-Cities area. Word of mouth is huge. Yeah,
and
sorry, go
knowing
ahead.
who to trust, right? And which sources to trust. Being an advocate can be one of the best ways to serve a nonprofit, either to an advocate for that nonprofit, or maybe even more importantly, an advocate for the issue that nonprofit is addressing.
I love that.
So, whether it's time, talent, treasure, advocacy, from a Boys and Girls Club perspective, reach out and open up the door like Chad did, 8 years ago, however long it was, to open up the door to say, I want to make a difference. This aligns with who I am from a missional perspective. How can I help?
Can I add another
Please.
way,
Yep.
Krista? It's really simple. Anyone listening to this can do it. Share this podcast.
Sure.
Right? I think that Brian and Krista have done a great job of giving you an overview of what we're doing through Boys and Girls Club and community, who we support, what our mission statement is. And so if you like what you've heard, share it with your friends. Introduce them to Boys and Girls Club, because, as much as we want to serve all the kids, we cannot do that. We need more people to help us reach more kids. We serve about 4,000 kids a year, and they're important kids. Every kid is important, but that is really a drop in the bucket compared to the number of youth in the Tri-Cities. So advocacy, do not underestimate advocacy. Do not underestimate the impact of, if you feel like you should share this podcast or reach out to Boys and Girls Club, please do. Please do. We need the backing of our community, and that's the only way we're successful in the work we do for youth.
And actually, that's a great time for me to ask the question as well. Let's say I'm a stay-at-home mom and I would love my kids to be involved in this, any age.
Yeah.
What does that look like for me? How do I do that?
Sure.
Or how do we find a good fit for those kiddos?
Kids get a little harder just because we serve kids, right? So that's a piece. But I think there's a couple ways. When I think
if whether the kids want to serve, or if I want my kids to be to be one of your communities that you are serving.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so, I worded it weird.
Let's do, focusing like on teens, some of the best ways for teens to serve is just become members, to get involved at their local teen center of Boys and Girls Club, and then they can become part of these clubs, doing Club on Wheels.
That totally makes sense.
To go to Second Harvest and sort food, to work with pet overpopulation on adoption days. All these kind of things can take place from a teen perspective. Now, what I will say from, as I think about my wife and some of my kids at home, I think there's ways to directly give back too. And I think of two easy ones with kids involved. I think one is volunteerism on administrative behind the scenes tasks. My wife is great at this, where sometimes there'll just be a mailer that needs to go out and I take it home. Her and my daughter sit down, watch Dancing with the Stars, fold some letters, and it saves X number of hours of staff time, right, by doing that. And
our
the
family
kids are
calls
involved.
that guilt-free TV.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. You don't have to feel bad.
No,
you don't have to get up during the commercials.
Do it all the time.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. So I think that's an
now
opportunity.
I'm going to feel guilty when I'm watching TV without.
No. You just fold some laundry.
TV.
You just fold some laundry. That's all you do.
You're good.
Yeah.
And then I think the other one is family-based service projects. Now it's harder as a family, but if you think about if you're part of a faith community, maybe it's a small group that does this together, but the ability to say, hey, we'd love to come serve, and that can look all the way from, like, I remember one day we built furniture.
Yeah, the Kennewick Clubhouse.
When we opened Kennewick. It might be yard work and pressure washing and those kind of things, but it's a great way to serve with your family and give back. So whether the kids get directly involved in service or the family can serve, there's ways to do that.
I love that. What are you worried about? You're being very positive, and I love it. I love the vibe, love the perspective. It speaks to me.
So
what are you worried about?
Yeah, I will give one worry individually and one collectively. So I would say the individual one, like a youth-focused one, I worry a lot about social media and phones. I just do. I know the challenge in my house with my kids on that. I see it with our club kids. I worry about that. That keeps me up at night as we outsource wisdom voices, whether that's parental or mentor, youth leader, coach, as we outsource that to random people on Instagram, or pick your favorite one. So I worry about that individually. That's a piece I definitely worry about. Collectively, I worry about polarization and the impact it has on our mission and serving kids. As we have the environment that we're in, which has some social media components for adults, but the environment we're in where people get more entrenched into their side of an issue, what we lose sight of is how that entrenchment hurts those who need us most. And I worry about that collectively. So those are maybe two of mine, one individual, one more collective. But there are things that I worry about that keep me up at night.
No, right? but those are honest. And what I love is all of it can be solved with in-person connection. Relationships and connections, which I can see how, by what you're sharing in our conversation, that the Boys and Girls Club is advocating for that connection. And I love it, just to belong somewhere with a real human right beside you.
And I love that you say that, because that is ultimately what that mission boils down to, is relationships and creating a sense of belonging in young people. Can you imagine how different our community would be if young people felt that they belonged, that they were accepted and loved for who they are.
Unconditionally.
Yep. Doesn't mean that we don't want to speak wisdom and give perspective, but if
Agreed.
they just felt belonging and love and acceptance, that would make a huge difference. That's what I want for my kids. Why not for 40,000 other kids in our community?
Oh, I love that. I'm going to share a 30-second story.
Yeah.
It's not Boys and Girls Club, but it's something similar where it backs up what you're saying. So we grew up, I was in Oklahoma. My dad was getting his PhD at Oklahoma State. Go Cowboys. And
Go Pokes.
That's right. And but I would have been maybe 8 or 9, and we were very poor, and that's okay. And it was like a summer week-long, it was not Boys and Girls Club, but it was something similar where it was offered a week-long summer camp.
Yep.
And I'm sure my mom, with all of us, was thrilled that we could all go and do it. And I don't remember a whole lot. I know we did crafts. This was at the high time of puff paint T-shirts. Like, I can still smell it.
Yeah.
And so I remember doing things like that. But more than anything, even 30, 35 years later, I remember the 20-year-old girl that I got to be in her group, and she let me follow her around like a shadow and talk to me. And I still remember her at lunch sitting and asking me questions about my life, and I felt valued. I absolutely felt valued, and I love her. I still remember the clothes she wore and her pixie cut and curly hair going everywhere, and I admired her. And and it was those mentors that just are unconditional acceptance. I'm 46 years old, and I still remember her.
Yeah,
it's
and
valuable.
how she made you feel.
That's exactly right. I belonged, and it was unconditional, and I loved it. I loved it. It was very important to my little soul.
Can I underscore just how important and wonderful the staff at Boys and Girls Club are? Because your story, Krista, is... I mean, that is the magic, right? There's a lot of great things about Boys and Girls Club, but boots on the ground, day to day, it's our staff who are being those great mentors to these youth. And so we have fabulous staff. We have a fabulous executive team, and they care about those kids. And you can see it the way they interact with them, the way they talk about them, and then to see the way that the kids talk about the impact those staff, those mentors have had in their life. It's the same story that you told and is impacting you to this day, right?
Yeah, I don't remember her name at all, but I remember her. And I remember how I felt when I was with her.
And the research backs that up. I mean, so there's a great policy research organization called Search Institute. Many people probably remember their work on the 40 developmental assets, which we talked a lot about 20-ish years ago. But most of their research has shifted to what they call supportive and developmental relationships. And it's behind a really central piece of research, which is the number one predictor of a young person's success in adulthood is that they have a connection with a caring and supportive adult who is not their parent.
Interesting.
Now, as parents, the three of us around...
That feels right. That feels true.
And it doesn't need to be a threat. It doesn't mean that we're not valuable as parents. We are. But part of our job as parents is to create an environment in which our kids can connect with other caring and supportive adults. That may be at the Boys and Girls Club, and it is for many of the kids in our community. But I think of like Chad as a lacrosse coach, right? Some of that responsibility is he gets to be and needs to be, and we need him to be that caring and supportive adult for someone else's child. Not to undermine parents, but to support parents, because the research just backs it up. I had that experience growing up, right? I had a relationship, with my youth pastor, a mentor in my life, that caring and supportive person who was not my parent. And ultimately, that is what probably created that sense of belonging for me. That is critical to have, and it can't just take place in the home. It has to be a community of people together.
And I think our common sense, or at least my experience, supports that too, right? Regardless of the data, I will go to a trusted adult and say, hey, I'm struggling with this with child X. Can you reach out to child X and just have a conversation with him or her? Put your arm around him next time you see him. And because I know the limitations of myself as a parent, and so to have that community, to have those mentors to reach out to, either from the child, the youth, or from the parent who knows they need backup. I mean, what a gift.
Yep.
What a great gift for us as parents, and then also for our kids.
Oh, and I don't think the person you reach out to or the person that serves your child, I don't know if they fully appreciate or even understand how much you love them for it.
Right.
Like,
great point.
Yeah, I absolutely, that's been my life experience too.
Yep.
And not to bring in the negative, but the opposite is true too.
Sure.
And so how wonderful to focus on the positive and maybe just self-reflect. Am I that positive? I hope so.
Yeah, because it leaves us with responsibilities as, we've shifted a little bit from Boys and Girls Club to parents, and I'm sorry about that, but it's still a youth,
actually,
right?
I think it's
But
a great discussion of what we're talking about, though.
But it gives us a responsibility as, we can't just focus on serving our children, right?
As important as that is, for sure. Yeah.
Incredibly important.
Yeah, for sure.
But that has to extend outside the home because we as adults have responsibilities to be that to another kid as well. Now, it might be friends of your kids, right? That's a great one of having your home be open. But sometimes it's going to be something more formal, whether that's directly if you're doing some type of mentoring with young people or through what we've talked about from an advocacy or donation perspective, equipping others to do that work. But we have to look outside of our home as well and look at how we can make the community better.
Oh, I love that. Well, I want to get in here with a way that our community can help the Boys and Girls Club. It's just right around the corner. So this holiday season, we have the privilege of having giving machines in our community. It is brand new in the Tri-Cities community, although they have been around for a handful of years now. Giving machines, you will see them. They are bright red. They are vending machines for donations. And this year we get them at the Fairchild Cinemas at Queens Gate. And it is going to be a party. I invite everyone to go. We have these giving machines from November 21st to December 10th at Fairchild Cinemas at Queens Gate in Richland. And there will be global donations and global service that you can give through these giving machines, through these vending machines. Like buying a chicken in Africa for a village. It is really fun. It is so fun. But we are lucky enough to get a few local nonprofits in these giving machines as well, and the Boys and Girls Club of Benton and Franklin counties is part of that. I have heard rumor. I have not validated that this is true, but as I understand it, right now there will be 5 ways that the Boys and Girls Club can be blessed through our community donations at these giving machines. One is that you can help buy cooking lessons for the club. You can help fund field trips, arts and crafts, sports equipment, and this one makes me really excited, leadership conferences.
Yes.
And sounds fun. And actually, would you mind sharing kind of what your
Orlando
leadership...
this year.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's a nationwide Boys and Girls Club
Team Leadership Conference. Yeah. So
I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah, Keystone Conference. So Keystone is, Chad mentioned earlier, our high school service club, right? So they'll elect officers, similar to like a ASB in a high school is maybe the best way to describe it, but a Boys and Girls Club version. And as part of that, we gather our Keystone clubs for a conference every year where they get some real equipping on how better to serve and give back. They get some self-care and leadership pieces, and they also get inspiration, right? Because it's a fun, high-energy environment. Last year, we sent Keystone kids from 3 of our clubs to Chicago for a conference. This upcoming one is in Orlando.
Oh,
and that's not just those, national ones. We have local and statewide leadership conferences we do for young people as well. We want them to have that experience of connecting with people, with peers, and serving the broader community. So that's a real fun one as part of those giving machines. I'm excited, for giving machine launch coming up, not just because of the donations it will produce for those 6 partners, 4 local and 2 global, but for the inspiration to the community to not just give to each other, in a family, in a group setting, but that inspiration of let's look outside of our walls and give someplace else. And I think that's a good message.
I love it.
Yeah, last year, so for my wife Bonnie, I got her, the giving machine wasn't local, but I was able to get her a certain amount of money to bless the lives of people somewhere else through the giving machine. And so it was example, a month's supply of prenatal vitamins for a mother who can afford it, a well in somewhere in Africa so people could have clean water. And yeah, it's awesome.
It's powerful. It is
powerful.
These giving machines are kind of interesting for me emotionally, because you're just at a vending machine, and instead of buying a candy bar, you're blessing someone that you will never see their face.
Yep.
But it's real. Oh, and actually this is a good time too for me to share all money donated to the giving machine. There is no overhead. All of it, I'm making this number up, but if you give $20 to the Boys and Girls Club in some form, all $20 goes directly to the Boys and Girls Club.
And not just no overhead and going directly to the clubs, but the church as a sponsor of this has done a great job of ensuring that those dollars go exactly where they say they're going to go. So there's some accountability with that as well, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah, which is a great thing in community trust, for sure. Awesome.
And that launches, coming up here soon. And Chad, you get to be, I think, the MC, or what are you for this launch?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I am. I'm the MC. It's Friday, November 21st at 10 a.m.
Okay.
At the Fairchild Cinemas in Richland. And we're going to have lots of cool people there talking about our community and giving and how that blesses the lives of lots of different people. So
and you can come
celebrate.
Out at any time, that for that launch or the weeks following. And I know that even our Keystone Club, which we've talked about a lot, has signed up for some shifts to be there kind of hosting them.
Bonnie and I signed up for Thanksgiving Day, 1 to 3. Come say hi to us at Fairchild Cinemas, and we'll give you a high five and wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's going to be great. What a great way to start the holiday season this year for us. Gentlemen, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wish we had or that you'd like to add?
No, I think we went a lot of different directions. I feel like we covered a lot of territory all the way from club programs and specific focus of Boys and Girls Club, but we also talked about some broader issues that are not about Boys and Girls Club, but they're about youth and
I love that.
The challenges they're facing. If I were to highlight one thing from our conversation, I think it's one that we all three jumped in on, which is that sense of belonging. We want young people to have that sense of belonging, and how do we as a community create fertile ground for that sense of belonging to take shape.
I love that. What do you think?
Yeah, the only thing I feel a little remiss if I didn't say is how awesome our board is, right? We have, I don't know, it's almost 30 people maybe on our board, and they are committed, they are generous, they are wise, and they're willing to step up for kids. And it's just at every level, including the support we receive from our community, it's a great organization to be involved in, as I know there are other great nonprofit organizations in our community providing, different needs for different folks who need them most.
I love that term. Brian, how do we find you? Website, Instagram, and I can link all of it in our show notes.
Yeah, you're going to find lots of social media as a way of engaging, but sometimes it's the simplest thing. Forgive me, I'm old school.
Old school's
Just
great.
call us.
No school like the old school.
509-543-9980. Pick up the phone. Be that voice on the other end. We're glad to connect you. Or our website's a great spot too, which is greatclubs.org.
Love it. Thanks so much. And also, again, reminding about the giving machines where you can very directly help our local Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. Please go and check them out. And besides that, it's just a great holiday event for your family to go be a part of. And then also, as always, you can check out justserve.org to find opportunities to serve here and other places within our community. And we so appreciate you coming and having this conversation with us today. We're excited to see where the Boys and Girls Club go and how we can all be better involved in it and support you guys and advocate for you guys.
Thank you so much. It was great to connect.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Krista.
Thanks. Bring on the holiday season.
Amen. Let's go.